In his long career as a professional gardener, Charles Goodrich has cultivated a wry empathy for bugs, birds, flowers, and weeds. His poems and essays are rife with the smells, sounds, and precise visual details of a nature intimately known, of creatures living together in a ceremony of appetite. In all his work, an inquiring sensibility rubs noses with an everywhere intelligent world. I'll show you his books, but I'll continue that Charles worked for 25 years as a professional gardener and has also worked as a correctional work crew supervisor, a short order cook, a carpenter, and now serves as program director for the Spring Creek Project for Ideas, Nature, and the Written Word at Oregon State University. Charles lives and gardens in Corvallis, Oregon. I'll put one other note in here about the founding part of Paper Gardens was that our founder, Rachel Bouchard, one of the tenets of her starting this organization was that we always have a judge that is a professional writer, somebody of a really high caliber to judge the works of our county writers, and that would be Charles.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thank you all for being here. What a beautiful crowd. I love it. I love multi-generational crowds, and it's just a great thing that your community does to sponsor this program and to for all of you to enter your writings. You know, I think of writing as a form of storytelling, and I think stories nurture communities and families and schools as much as food does. I think we need stories just as we need food. If we want to, you know, you have a beautiful town, you have a great, vibrant economy, you have agriculture, you have recreation. Could we do better? Yes, we could do better. We can always do better. And how might we figure out how to do better? Somebody's going to come up with a different story. They're going to say, why don't we try it this way? Why, instead of that, why don't we try this? And if they do it in elegant language, even in literature, it might be more persuasive. It might work far better. So I think of everything that you've contributed to this beautiful little chapbook as a story for your community. So when you come up and read, think about it not so much about you, although I certainly congratulate each and every one of the winners and those who wrote good things that weren't selected, but it's really about giving a gift back to your community. So when you read, Kelly's going to adjust the microphone for you at whatever level you need. This is the kindest audience that you're ever likely to get to perform to, so relax and read. Be proud of your work and give it your best shot. So I'm going to try to model a little bit of effective reading. You know, reading and writing are actually two different skills. And there are many, many writers who write beautifully but don't read that well. And I have friends among them, and sometimes I want to say, here, you sit down, I'm going to read your work because I do it better than you do. But you think about, you know, declaiming your work clearly and loudly, and it's a different kind of experience to deliver it clearly. So I can feel your good energy. I'm so happy to be here. This is lovely. Let me, Kelly mentioned that I had a long career as a professional gardener. She also said that I was a professional writer of a high stature, which I appreciate hearing. When I decided to become a poet in my 20s, I also heard rumors that poets don't make a lot of money. So I went looking for another way to make my daily bread, and I was fortunate to discover a knack for gardening. The first gardening job I had was at Marylhurst Convent, just down the road along the river in Portland, and I took care of the grounds of a school for troubled kids for a couple of years, the Children's Farm Home outside of Corvallis, and then for 15 years I worked as the gardener for the Benton County Courthouse in the center of Corvallis. When you drive through town, you see that lovely square block of gardens, and I was the county's master gardener for a long time. The point being that if you want to be a writer, then to be a professional writer and try to make money at it is not the only way to do it. Most writers actually make their income as teachers, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to be outside more. So I was fortunate enough to have this career as a gardener. And it fed me to be out of doors and having encounters with weather and with insects and with flowers. And those became the stories of much of my writing. They became the rhythms in which I expressed myself. They kept me healthy, except for I wore out my knees. But it was a great career and a great compliment to my writing career. So let me read you a few poems that marry gardening and literature. This is I'm going to start with 2 bug poems. I have taken it as part of my mission in life to write things about creatures that are scorned by us or ignored by us, pests, and things that make us say, ooh. Not because they might not actually be pests. Oftentimes they've earned that designation, but because once we call them that, oftentimes we stop looking at them. We just think they're not even to be regarded. And even if they are nuisances, or if they are agricultural pests, or they sting or hurt us, they still might be fascinating, and they might be miracles in their own right. So if we can at least take a look at them before we step on them, I think that is something of a benefit. So here's one about bumblebees, and it's called The Master. Early morning in the herb garden, I'm watching a bumblebee bang around in a poppy. He buzzes over to a penstemon, shoves his way down a blossom, then backs out with pollen stains on his face. Now he shambles across the rosemary like a drunkard and stumbles onto an aster, a clumsy, fat ballerina in a black tutu. It's hard to take this bumblebee seriously with his stubby wings, pudgy thorax, geodesic eyes. When he lifts his ponderous body in flight, he's fudging several laws of aerodynamics. If this is how plants get pollinated, it's a wonder the planet survives. Weird how evolution flirts with absurdity. My mother used to tell me, don't be half a fool. So I bow to the bumblebee, my mentor in accident and indirection, who has gotten himself stuck just now in a foxglove. Humming and buzzing, he shimmies back out, waggles his butt and buzzes away, the master, my implacable guru. So you can learn from creatures. In fact, that's one of the things I will teach tomorrow in my writing workshop. We will write something about an animal or a plant or a thing that we really hate, that we think is a monster, and we'll write all the good reasons why that is. And then we'll go, on the other hand, and we'll try to find some things to appreciate about them, and then we'll think if there might be a lesson in that. So here's another a bee poem. This is about honeybees. I was imagining, I love to watch honeybees, swarming over a flower, and I was imagining what it would like to be one. So it's called honeybeeing. I could do that. I could nuzzle into those blossoms, bury my nose in that corolla, rub my belly all over with that succulent pollen. I could live in that body with the requisite poise, with the honeybee's reticent enthusiasm, never taking too much from any one blossom, never quarreling with my fellow foragers, keeping my pollen sacs well balanced, eyes shined, antennae erect. and I could master the dance steps. I love to dance. And I have no qualms about humming the solar anthem, dawn to dusk, praising the fire in my wings as the one and only engine of pure transport. Just don't ask me to enter the hive. I get anxious even thinking of that buzzing horde packed together in angelic densities. Inside, I can't tell which are the brood chambers and which are the tombs, which is the honeycomb and which are the catacombs. To whom do I bow? Where do I spit? What would I do if the guard bees take me for an interloper? And what will the queen do if she catches me alone? So maybe I'm not ready for that life. Maybe I haven't even figured out how to be a human, how to walk straight, pay attention, try to keep my head out of the clouds. I love spring weather. It's a little bit worrisome when we get big snowstorms in March, but I do love that changeable weather. So I wanted to read a poem. This will be the last poem I'll read, and I wanted to read one for that ever-changing experience of the sky coming at us. It's called A Sprung Day. It's in 6 little parts, 6 radical changes of weather. You might recognize a day like this. Deep fog at dawn, trouble waking. I grope downstairs with a bad dream tagging along. Mid-morning sun quivers in a mist, a candle behind muslin. I pin my wife's clean blouses to the clothesline, humming. Before lunch, a quick, hard rain. All the weeds pulled this past 2 hours. Lick their wounds, bite down, reroot. Shirt off, straw hat shading my face, I snooze in the grass while the stainless sun tattoos my chest. Perverse wind, black clouds pushing in, raindrops big as teeth. I run for the house, then turn and watch, shivering, as the cherry tree is stripped of its blossoms. Then it's clear again. Steaming, sun rays drill the moistened earth. I need to dig. I want all vegetables now. My spade flashes through the ground. Thank you so much. You want me to do one more? All right. Okay, I'm going to do one more. This is I just gave a copy of this to Kelly, and she suggested I read it tonight. This is an elegy for my mother. You know how that little sound a light bulb makes just before it burns out. That's what triggered this. It's called filament. Last night I heard the light bulb above the kitchen sink singing. Its filament getting thin and rattling with old age. And sure enough, this morning it's burnt out, just like my mother, who gave off light all those years, but only sang toward the end. Thank you so much.